Good morning, good day. Welcome to our webinar today about growing your sales in Latin America. We're delighted that you could all attend. Thank you very, very much for being here with us today. And just while the last of you log on and things, I'm going to sort of introduce ourselves and introduce ourselves also as a company. I should do that first as well. So first, just briefly, IBT Online. IBT is we're a private company, a US company. And you can find us at ibt.onl as our mnemonic, IBT Online. And we are 100% focused on online tools, that is websites and online marketing. And we're known particularly for our international scope. We do a lot of international websites and international marketing. We've been around for quite a long time. We've been around for about 20 years. So we're, we've got some good experience here. And in that time, we've also developed something called the Online Global Programs. These are programs that we've established with various US states, also with some provinces in Canada, to help exporters grow their export sales, brand, and business using online business development tools like your website, like your online marketing. And we know there's grants available very often for these programs. And if you want to learn more about them, let us know. And then speaking today, I am really, really pleased and honored to have two of our big Latin America specialists. Nora, who's their online account manager and is known, I think, to many of you for her skills on the websites and website build and making sure the content resonates in the Latin American markets. Her ability to do keywords, her conscientiousness in terms of getting your websites up, running on time and functioning beautifully. And also Camille Cardona, Camille is an online marketing manager with IBT Online, specializing in the Latin American markets. And again, Camille is also very well known for her ability to really reach out and engage with the Latin America audiences, B2B, B2C, on all different kinds of platforms. As we go ahead today, please drop questions into the chat box. We have got some time at the end of the webinar for questions. You've got two fantastic experts here, one on websites, one on marketing. And now's an opportunity. We know we've all had too many Zooms and webinars the last few years, but now take this time, an opportunity to ask these experts some really good questions that you always wanted to ask about the Latin American markets. Today, we've divided up into like four slots, four sort of buckets that were. First, I'm going to give an overview of some of the general landscape of Latin America online. Sort of, what are the major features of the markets and what are the key markets in the Latin America sphere. Then we're going to turn to Nora, to talk about websites, and that's going to be sort of we call that how to reach your clients. How can they find you? They find you through your website, and Nora's going to talk us through a bit sort of the key aspects to best practice Latin America websites. And then we're going to give Camille a chance to talk a little bit about Latin America online marketing. What does that mean? Where do you go? What platforms? How do they engage? How do they do things? What's different for it in Latin America? And then we've left some time, as I said, for some takeaways and Q&A. And we're a friendly bunch. Put your questions in. We'll get there. Right, so I can see some of you are still logging on, but we'll crack on. My part really just giving you sort of an overview of the markets in Latin America. And I guess we're not economists, we're online specialists, but I think there's a couple of things that are worth pointing out in terms of the sort of the macro picture of Latin America. And the first is simply how big it is. I've superimposed a map of the USA against Latin America. You see how big it is in terms just geographically, and that has an impact as well on your websites. It'll mean hosting becomes so important. It means part of internet access becomes important. Are they doing it through landlines, through cable, through fiber optic? All that stuff becomes important when you're looking at your websites. and your online marketing. The other point is, I guess, that it is a very internet. It's countries that have grasped the internet quickly. Very often they didn't have the infrastructure in place. There wasn't an existing telephone line dug in the ground, but guess what? You got a satellite, you suddenly got internet. So it's what we call an internet, a mobile first market. So the mobile first market. And that also has implications, which both Nora and Camille will talk about when they talk about websites and online marketing. Up to some 70%, so over 2/3 of the population of Latin America are online. There is increasingly something called a digital divide in Latin America. Those who have it are doing better than those who don't. And that's sort of a driving force as well for a lot of governments to increase the online penetration rates in these markets. A couple of other big features. I've talked already about this mobile first and how mobile enabled these markets need to be. They're also incredibly reactive. Put up a post, they react. The second point that is of interest perhaps to many of you is that the marketing is actually cheaper. I mean, Google AdWords and so on is cheaper than you'll find in the US. There's this good engagement as well across different platforms. The problem is sometimes the conversion. So conversion from a like into a sell or into a sales. The other point I wanted to make is just how vibrant and growing, increasing e-commerce. It has its own e-commerce champions on the B2C side. You know, El Mercado, for example. You know, it's the sort of Walmart of Latin America, but it also has a very strong B2B e-commerce environment. And let us know if you want to have some questions on that, or some more information on that. When I talk about mobile first, I just thought this would be kind of interesting just to say, you know, mobile connectivity in North America is about 105%. So 105% phones versus people. In South America, it's 109. It's actually larger than in the US and Canada, which I think is interesting. The number one way of reaching the internet is through your smartphone. And your number two is through a laptop. So, you know, the mobile enablement becomes very, very important, and we'll discuss that later. Let's dive down very, very quickly into some of the, sort of briefly into some of the big markets. I think I want to start really with Mexico. So Mexico, again, very large. Here I've superimposed, I had fun with this, I superimposed a map of Texas onto Mexico. You know, Mexico is basically 3 times the size of Texas, so it has the same issues as the whole of Latin America in terms of logistics, in terms of internet, side, but it's incredibly young as well. That's another point. 30% of the population under the age of 18. And that again means that it is very responsive. It's a very quick adopter, sorry, of new technologies, of things going, in a sense, going viral, of new technologies, of new platforms, of new ways of doing things. Very innovative market online, and worth keeping in mind when you're looking at that. Also a very, very visual market. In terms of the internet, you know, it's a lot of people in Mexico. 92 million of them, that's 70% of the population, are using the internet, and they use it for up to 9 hours a day, and most of them are on their mobile phone. Out of that 92 million people using the internet, nearly 80% of them are on social media as well. Brazil, the second big, sort of largest economy, the largest economy in Latin America, and probably the second biggest destination area for US exporters. It has a very vibrant e-commerce market. Again, 97% of the population have mobile phones. 70% of the population are hooked onto the internet, and 70% of them are also social media users. So again, a very vibrant, very useful market for the online world. Then Colombia, similarly, over 100% of the population have mobile phones. So many people have 2 mobile phones. 70% of the population, again, on the internet. 70% of them on social media. And well, actually, all people, 100% of the people on the internet use social media. How about that? So Colombia, a very good market, and then a market that's sometimes forgotten, I think, by exporters when they're looking at this is Argentina. A very strong market again. 129% mobile phone connections in that place. So again, those same trends that we're seeing, 78% of the population on the internet and on social media. We wanted also to talk just briefly, besides sort of those big picture environment things that we talked about, I wanted also to bring about another point, which is really important when you're looking at these big markets and what that means, which is to define your buyer persona. And in what way is your buyer persona different from your buyer persona in your domestic market? So I've listed a couple of questions there on the left-hand side. How does my Latin American buyer persona find me? How do they interact with me? How do they use the same platforms as me? In what way is that buyer persona's journey, that buyer's journey, different in the USA or in Canada than it is in Latin America? And these are all things that I think one needs to think about here. And here we have on the right, there's a picture of L'Oreal USA. Everybody obviously has great hair. L'Oreal, all women. It's interesting. They're on the top floor. It's a very studied image that L'Oreal wanted to present on itself. And if you just look at the slight difference that you have, this is L'Oreal in Mexico. They're also on the top floor. Also got great hair. It's a little bit different. They're more relaxed. There's a man there too, and it's more interactive. They're more all together. For that, it's just slightly different. And L'Oreal is very clear about how they wanted to look at that persona. These are clearly L'Oreal from Mexico. And if we look at L'Oreal for Argentina, again, slightly different. Perhaps more diverse than some of the others. They're in an Argentinian street, and you would know that right away as Buenos Aires. So again, L'Oreal is very cognizant that its buyer persona is subtly different in these markets. And that's why they wanted to have this very subtle difference between these markets for that. So that's just an example of the buyer persona in these markets and how you can think about them. So how do you look at a buyer's journey in Latin America? And this is a complicated slide. There's lots of things on it, but we wanted to sort of highlight the user experience and the local user experience. So your local buyer's journeys experience. Local user experience is called LUX for Latin America. What would that be like? First of all, it would be having a dedicated Latin America website. So yourbusiness.lat, whatever that is. And then combining that with online marketing, social media marketing. And all those things on the right-hand side, metric, locally hosted, relevant images, keywords, all of that goes into by making sure that you have the right local user experience. And with that, I'm going to pass over to Nora to talk more about that local user experience on the website. But just before I do, let's launch a quick poll and just ask y'all, if you're already doing business in Latin America, and if so, are you active there? Are you with a local partner? A lot of people go with local partners. Some of you will go online only. That's always a bold gesture. And just to give you a little bit of feedback, first of all, big thank you. You guys are very responsive. Love it. Thank you. You're all clicking away there on the mouse. I love it. Thank you very much. I can tell you that the majority of you are there with a local partner only, but many of you are thinking about going online as well. So the majority, though, with a local partner. That's fantastic. And thank you all for clicking. The vast, nearly all of you did. I appreciate that. We've got 2 more polls before the end, but thanks for that. That's very interesting. So most of you are there with a local partner only, which makes sense why you're on this webinar. So I'm going to close that poll and pass over to Nora to talk a little bit about how to reach your Latin American prospects, your websites. Nora?
Thank you, Susana. Yes, I'm really glad we're talking about websites for Latin America. it's very important that we understand that your presence, your current presence, needs to be adapted to the market for Latin America in many ways that Susana just mentioned before. But one of the things is how you are going to be reached by your prospect in Latin America. We're still dealing with Google. Google has a very high, more than 90%, as you can see on the table there, as the market share in terms of how the users look for something they need. They use a search engine. There are some local search engines that are very important as well, but Google keeps the majority of the search traffic across Latin America. And as you can see on the side, and you will see on the next slide, Google has specific search engines for approximately 192 countries and regions. That's why you will see Google Peru, Google Mexico, Google Canada. What does that mean? That Google is a search engine that is localized. What does that mean? That really the user will get the best results based on their location. That's very important. That's Google's job. Google's job is to bring the most relevant information to what the user intent is to look for or to find in the internet. And they really want to do a great job. That's why they are localized. They just, if you're in Mexico, and we will see an example of that, they want you to bring something that is localized, that is in your country, that is in your region, and serves you better. Okay, so this is a word that you will see and hear a lot, localized. Okay, so if you go to the next slide, I will show you an example. Okay, this is a user. It is Susana in the UK, London. Okay, and this is me in Florida, Fort Lauderdale greater area. We have the same need. What is the need? We have dogs, okay, that usually bark in the background when we are doing webinars like this. So we have to find a solution. As a coworker, we are going to search both squeakless dog toys, okay? But she will use Google search and I will use the same search engine, but as you can see there, we are going to have different results based on our location. You can see that I get Chewy.com, Amazon.com, even Yahoo, okay? And Susana is getting relevant results that are localized to the UK. If bunnies, I think it's Barks and Bunnies that I never heard about, and I won't even go there. But also Amazon is one. You could say, okay, but you both have Amazon, but it's a localized website from Amazon. It's amazon.co.uk. So even I think we all agree that we can learn one thing or two about Amazon and Google, and if they have their own localized websites to be relevant and to keep in the first 10 results for each user or target user, we should follow the same. So this is a great example of what we are talking about in terms of search engine and localized results. Now going to the next slide. Okay, what is a localized website? What does it need to have? Okay, we need, because sometimes, why can I use the same website that I use for the US or the current one that I have? It's because it's not optimized, it's not localized for the market. So in order to make it relevant to your target market, to the user that you are looking for, you really need to follow these steps to localize your website. Okay, it's because you want that local buyer to see you as accessible as possible to his region. Like a registered domain name at the country level, we are talking about extensions that are specific to the region or to the country. When I say region, I say .lat, that is Latin America. When we refer to an extension, a domain name that has an extension at the country level, we are talking about the .mx for Mexico, .cl for Chile, and so on. So you need the name of your company with the country extension, if it is very easy to register that under your name. And we are going to talk about that after that. Multilingual navigation. So those are the little flags and languages that we usually find at the top level menu for so many websites that we have seen before. That means for the user that you have all the content relevant to them in their languages or relevant to their local and country. Mobile enabled. Susana stressed out a lot how Latin American users and buyer personas are very mobile driven, and that's something that is important. Your website should be a website that is mobile enabled. The design, you have to adjust the design. Susana just mentioned about L'Oreal. Those are very sweet, maybe not big changes, but it shows that you care. It shows to the region, to the country, to the market that you really understand them and you are willing to go that extra mile to understand and to talk their language in many levels. Also, fully adapted to local languages. That's, even though we just have two languages in Latin America, Spanish and Portuguese in Brazil, not all Spanish, like the Spanish in Mexico, if you will, and the Spanish that we talked in Puerto Rico, in my case, or even Colombia, are not the same. And are not the same. We have our local bridge idioms, if you will. And sometimes we really need to hear the industry terms, how it's been taught in that region. And sometimes your reps, your local reps, can help you on that one. So it's not just about the translation into the Spanish language, into the Portuguese language. It's also the terms, how it's used in Mexico, how it's used in Colombia, Chile, and if you will have a presence that will cover more than one Latin American country, what is the right term to use? So that's what means fully adapted to the local language. Cultural aspects taken into consideration. We just talked about that when we talked about the images. Also, we have to bear in mind what could be offensive, of not really a good idea to use in terms of images or messages. Sometimes we try to translate literally some slogans that really doesn't make sense or can cause some trouble. So optimize for search engines. We just talked about that. You really need to optimize your hosting. So it can be just technically a website that is easy to access, easy to upload, download, easy to see. Videos are working fine, forms as well. The correct content management platform is very important to use the correct one for the market as well. And this is something that sometimes is overseen, is the regulatory requirements. We have to make sure that your website, your content really is compliant to the local market requirements in terms of privacy or in terms of the use and of the products, of the language and everything. So I think we cover a lot there. Let's go to some of the tactics that we can use in order to be successful when it comes to websites. I know we are very used to look for keywords for marketing purposes, and keyword lists and keyword phrases, it's very key for marketing, but it's also very important that you know your keywords and keyword phrases for the to be included in the content across your website. That's something very important, and this is shorter than the one that you do for marketing. Okay, these are the keywords that your users are going to use in order to look for the kind of service, product, or what you offer. And in different, it can be different for each language because of what country I may say, because even though it's just one language, like Spanish, if you are like in this example, a dealer, an automaker, or you offer services to vehicles, if you use auto or coche. So if you're in Spain, definitely across your content, you will have many times the word coche, because coche is the one that is used there, even though both are Spanish. But you don't want to use auto because you're going to be targeting only 9% of your users. Instead of in Mexico, you will use then auto. Why? It's very important that you use auto instead of coche, because if not, and I know we have to fix this slide, but for Mexico, it's definitely auto. It's not coche. So if you want to target your market in Mexico, definitely you have to do that. So here is a great example of the same search engine, that is Google, same language, that is Spanish, different keywords. For just to give you an idea, you have to find out between 10, 15, no more than 20 keywords that you should be using across the content. And also, one of our expertise, we use that keyword and the keyword search research that we do to do search engine optimization, the part that is behind the scenes, the technical part that goes to the H1 headers, subheaders, and also the content. So we will use that list not only to improve the content across the site, but also the backend in order for you to have an optimized website and also localized ones. I hope I haven't gone too far, but usually I get very excited with that one. And that's why you have to really review your content according to the region, according to the language, according to your market. This is a great example of what a very well localized websites do for you. How do they work for you? So what you get if you follow all those things, this is the results, 1 month results of a website that is localized, meaning that has your domain name with .mx, okay? Is hosted in Mexico as well, and it has search engine optimization for the target market. So as you can see here, definitely the website, this localized website, Google thinks that is a good website for your target market. Why you know that? Because approximately 87% of your traffic is from Mexico. And you can see that if you combine Chile and Colombia, it's approximately like maybe 90 something, maybe 98 of your traffic, meaning that for Google finds this website that is super relevant for Mexico and not that relevant for Chile and Colombia, but still it appears. On the right side hand of this slide, there is a graphic that you can be, especially with marketing, and Camille is going to cover that because it's her territory, but you can be as granular as you want across one country, even for regions, using marketing, so you can get exactly the traffic that you want. Okay, but if you get the traffic and you don't have the right website and content that they can find what they are looking for, it's a real good combination. You have to tackle both of them, okay? So going to our next slide, I would like to show you a case study. It's just one that we are tackling today. One case study that we have from ASI. ASI is Advanced Super Abrasives. Let me just check exactly the words for the products. I don't want to miss that one, so I'm going to look at my note. They are providers of premium high performance diamond and CBM wheels, and they had a very strong presence and website in the US. In this case, we work with their president, Jonathan, and they want to tackle Mexico because Mexico was one of their biggest markets to tackle first. So as you can see here, the domain name has the country extension .mx. As you can see also, it's a Spanish language. You can see what I was talking about, the multilingual navigation. That's the flag there with the country name and also the language. So that's what we are talking about. So ASI really have this website, not this one, their original one for a long time. So they decided to optimize it, localize it, and use it for Mexico. Within a couple of weeks after going live, they started to receive at least approximately 10 requests for quotes. So they went from cold calling, trying to get new clients in the region, to around 10 requests a quote a week. So definitely they saw the value. So if they were able not only to receive those requests for quote, they were able to grow their business there for more than 34%. They had they had to hire people in order to comply with the demand there. Staff from the production, sales staff. So instead of going during the pandemic into laid off some people, they had to hire more. So this is this is Jonathan explaining to us the results in his own words. We did more business in Mexico in 2021 than in the past 15 years combined. So this is big. And I have to say that this is the results that ASI has nowadays is a combination of our global marketing programs in build, that is building the website, and marketing. So it's not just a localized website, okay? So anything else that I missed, but I think I have covered. So let's have a summary, more or less, of what a best practice is in terms of having a website for Latin America. We are going to address Mexican website. Why Mexico? Because of the commercial relationship with the United States and Canada. So there's a very big market for a lot of our potential clients, and it's really a big region, very connected to the internet. So best practice, use a .mx or a country level extension of your domain name, mobile first, the Spanish, the right language, the right local words and keywords, very, very important. And I think Camille is going to stress out that. Videos. Latin American, we are visual. We like videos. We want to see what's there. It's not only what you tell us. It's not only about reading. Usually they read if you are able to make them curious about it. But videos is very important. Visual content is very important. And believe it or not, in Latin America, WhatsApp, not only as a marketing tool, but a business tool. One of the things that our clients has is, okay, if I have prospects in Latin America, how they are going to contact me. They are going to reach me through the search engine, through the website, but how they're going to contact me. And most of our clients, US clients, has toll-free numbers. And you have to understand that toll-free numbers are not free or doesn't work for Latin America. So you need a way, because in Latin America, we like to talk to people. We like to be able to reach you if we have a question. Besides of the contact form, that's it. We are like more towards making business with companies that we feel are accessible and we can reach. So WhatsApp, it's very important. business WhatsApp number are very, very well received and common in Latin America. You can give customer service, request a quote, and many services if you have your business WhatsApp number, and you will have a great success in terms of communication with your potential client or distributors there, because they are very used to do that, to use WhatsApp. WhatsApp definitely in terms of marketing is a great tool, but that's Camille territory. And social media, we are very social. We would like to have as many ways to communicate with you as possible. So I think I cover most of what I should be covering for you guys. Now, Susanna, back to you. I think we have a poll before we go to Camille.
Thank you, Nora. Thank you very much indeed. I will launch another poll just to ask, you know, if first of all, you know, big thank you, Nora. That was terrific. You know, we've packed an awful lot of information into this webinar, so you will be getting. I've got a couple of requests. Yes, you will be getting a recording of this in your inbox. You know, if you registered for the webinar, so you will be getting the recording. There's a lot in that first half, all about Latin America websites, and now we're going to go on to the online marketing. Just to let you know, thank you again. You're all just right on the button there. You're all responding so well. Thank you. And for those of you who would like us to contact you, we'll send you an email with more information about any of the things that you're looking at. Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to close that poll and just pass on now to Camille, who's talking a little bit about more about the online marketing side of the world. Camille, how are you? Ooh, you're on mute. Hold on. You're on mute, Camille. Can you become unmuted?
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. My name is Camille, and I am the online marketing specialist for the LATAM here at IBT Online, and it's great to be here. Now you have your LATAM website, right? You need to use it and use it wisely. That means using online marketing the platforms. And these are the events that drive the marketing buyer's life cycle. This resonates both in organic and paid. When someone see a brand, see a product, they build awareness, you build the consideration, whether that person wants to buy the product, you evaluate, and then you make your final purchase. For that, you need to create events. And Latin America is a great place to use the online marketing. You will find your Latin American prospects respond and engage with you online very quickly, quite quickly, as they like to share comments on your posts. As Nora previously mentioned and went over, it's a type of the buyer persona that you will encounter in Latin America. And this includes business to business as well. So it's very interesting. Online marketing is a great way to bring the brand awareness and build up potential customers and therefore quality leads that you need to convert to sales. Remember that the online marketing, it's all about creating digital events. We're going to go over that later. That means ads, organic posts, blogs, and interactions. Those events are part of the buyer's journey, and we'll once again go over that very soon. As we go to the next, all right, perfect. It is very interesting to see how important has become social media in the Latin American region. Just between 2020 and 2021, after the pandemic hit, there was a huge increase in the social media users across the region, 8%, which is quite a lot. 72% of the Latin America population has an active social media account. These are 72% of the people in the Latin American region that we can reach out and can become a potential customer for your brand. This shows us the importance of having a brand presence in social media dedicated to this region. that would generate the constant content that would help us generate the content for this market, and constant content to resonate for this area. Not only have just a USA page, so this means that you should also carry out and build a brand awareness within the social media. In Latin America, that means you might need another page as well, because this is a very, very important market. Moreover, it's crucial to point out that the WhatsApp, it's a top messaging app throughout the Latin American region. WhatsApp is owned by Facebook, as many of you know, and hence through the Facebook marketing platform, we are allowed to have users get in touch through the message app in WhatsApp and generate paid content. That means ads that click into the WhatsApp business account. So it's a great potential as well to reach this type of customers. And for the past few years, WhatsApp has become an important tool for the business owners as well. As I mentioned, WhatsApp has a WhatsApp for Business app that runs separately from your personal account. So through the Facebook platform, you can always build a campaign to reach out to those customers. Let's talk about the LATAM online, which is very interesting. Throughout the whole world, the top 8 countries ranked by usage, 4 are in Central and South America. These are Colombia, Brazil, Mexico, and Argentina. This is very interesting, and this is something to take in account, because Latin American countries are a leader in the time spent on social media as well. Colombia is ranking 2nd in the whole world with 3 hours 45 minutes. That's a lot. Brazil, it's a 3rd with 33 hours 42 minutes. Mexico, it's a 6th in the whole world with 3 hours 27 minutes. And Argentina, 3 hours 22 minutes. This goes in comparison of a global average that is a full 1 hour or less, or 2.5 hours. The USA, by the way, is just barely over 2 hours for social media, just to keep that in mind. It is impactful to see that, for example, Mexico, they spend an average of 8 hours, 21 minutes, compared with the US that spends about 7 hours online. So it is quite interesting the time that the people in the LATAM market spend on the social media. And this brings me to the next example. Here's a great point on how different buyer persona interact with the social media campaign. This is a comparison between Mexico and the United Kingdom. This is an example of a Facebook campaign where we were promoting the same exact product, similar imagery and message. Although the course was localized and we made it relevant for each audience, for Mexico and the UK. If you look at the results for this specific post, for the UK, we had 1,200 engagements, and we were super pleased with it. And then you look at Mexico, and we were blown away with over 20,000 engagements. If you stop at this, you might conclude that Mexico worked better, right? Not necessarily. Let's see why. If we see here, you have the same company, but looking at their Facebook posting over a year and comparing Mexico with the UK, there was a lot of more engagement for Mexico. So you can see the blue and the red bars for that. Just look at the Mexico versus the UK, blue and red. Engagement here is measured as the number of times someone clicked on the ad and on the post in this case. But you can see that a Mexican buyer persona engaged more easily than the Brit, but the lead generation at the end of the buying cycle, which is what we are looking for, an actual sale, is about the same. So this tells us that the buyer persona reacts differently at the end of the day, not necessarily because you have more clicks, you can have a lot of volume and a lot of vanity numbers, but at the end of the day, we didn't have those numbers for the UK market, but we did have the sale at the end, just right just as we had it with Mexico. So both campaigns were successful, although one had less engagement than the other. When we go to objectives, you have objectives, and based on your objectives, you have a different goal. You want to grow your brand, right? This is a crucial piece of the social media efforts. You have to align your social strategy to your business objectives. You want engagement. That means you want to build a community that resonates with your overall brand. You see brands that they have like a community within their Facebook and Instagram page where people share experiences with the actual product or personal experience that have to do with the product, and that's a community. So that's very good. That's part of turning the customers into advocates, as it's stated here. Therefore, you want to drive the leads and then the sales. That's how the audience are finally interacting with your content. Those are the clicks, those are the email sign-off. And if we take social media here as an example, you see how within a singular platform, let's say Facebook, for example, here, you have already tailored your activities to the goals and overall objectives for your business. It's very good to do smart posting, to have a calendar. You have to have a content calendar on whether, and we're going to go on over that later, whether this post is going to be organic, this content is going to be paid, and which are the objectives of each interaction in each post, whether it's brand awareness, a sale, if you have a special product that you want to move from your inventory as well. So it's very important to be smart and to be mindful on what you publish on your page. In terms of measuring success, once you set your objectives, you always define what success will mean for this objective and how you can measure it. Those are the KPIs, key performance indicators. There are so many different types of KPIs to choose from. Whether it's how many people view your post, how many people click your post, how many people converted and became a sale. That depends. If you want to just do a brand awareness, probably you just need people to click and therefore go to your website and spend certain amount of time on your website. So that's your KPI, how much time to spend on your website originating from that post. If it's sales as well, so it all depends on if the post is for a sale, that's your KPI. If the post is for brand awareness, then the clicks and the time spent at the web page, that will be a KPI as well. Remember, obviously, to make the goals realistic. For international market, this can be specifically important as you build your brand recognition and the trust through the buyer's journey. And once this is set up, don't forget to keep an eye on them. It's important to go back and forth when you have a live post, when you are running a campaign and add sometimes you have the scheduling, sometimes you're running through a certain amount of period of time, which is very long term, and you have to keep analyzing the results and perform changes as needed, especially in this type of market that things can change within a couple of days, and probably the message that you are publishing at this moment doesn't resonate anymore. So let's go to organic and paid social media. There's a little bit of a confusion sometimes. People talk about a post and they just think it's just a post, but there's a difference between organic and paid. It's very useful to remind ourselves that organic really means unpaid. Organic is not limited to search engine optimization. That's how search engines like Google rank your website. That's how people organically, without you having to pay, find your site. Just as Nora mentioned, if it's localized, if you have a site in Mexico, if you have a localized for that region, organically, it should show up accordingly. but you can have also the organic SEO and the social media postings as well. This is a key component of a good social media strategy, to have organic posts. Traditionally, inbound marketers, we have avoided paid search as we view that as a more outbound strategy for marketing, especially with social media ads. However, it has become quite common. I believe that pretty much after 2019 and 2020, to make the two of both organic and paid work together. So if you are considering the pros and cons of organic versus paid, you have to sit down with your team and examine your timeline and budget. If you are looking for the quickest result, definitely paid is better. If you are looking for something more cost effective, if I can say more organic, more something more in a slow motion, and definitely as a long term, organic will work much better, and the answer becomes clear here. While the organic posting is more cost effective in the long run, it's very good to know that with the right tracking and attention and the landing page optimization, paid ads can be very cost effective as well. And it's very important, once you set up the strategy, whether you want to work totally organic, totally paid, or have a combination of both, you need to build a relationship with your LATAM buyer persona. You have to set your objectives. You have to define the buyer persona. The buyer persona, as an example, someone between 30 to 40 that lives in Mexico. It's a stay-at-home mom. That's an example of a buyer persona, and create that message to resonate with that buyer persona. Define your KPIs, and we already went over that. What are the key performance indicators? Which indicators will let us know that whether the campaign is working or not. You have to choose your platforms. This is very important. Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, YouTube is not the same. This resonates a lot with your buyer persona. Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, they just go to different type of people, different type of messages should be allocated based on the message on each platform, whether you have video or you have a single post that might then not work quite good on YouTube or vice versa. So it's very good to have that in mind. And strategy, the ad copy, images. When are we gonna post those that content? Is it gonna be on the weekend, on the weekdays? Placements. That means on Facebook, for example, are we gonna do Instagram, Facebook mainstream, WhatsApp, a combination of the three? And then consider an organic versus paid. And reporting, once again, this goes along with the KPIs. When you have the analytics of the behavior, you have to refine your strategy many times, or optimize things that are working, whether you have to allocate budget maybe on another platform. So that's what we are talking about here. And I would like to point out an example of a very good example of a online marketing strategy for LATAM on Facebook. This is the importance of the video content, as Nora previously mentioned. This company, they manufacture synthetic engine oils, and they do have a strong business-to-business presence. We created a campaign for a distributor acquisition across Latin America. So the company already has a good Facebook following base in Spanish in Latin America, but they were more business to consumer. However, we created videos that would resonate very much with the business to business buyer persona. And yes, we all do it. We scroll through Facebook a lot, mindful, without being mindful of what we are seeing. So once we published those videos, that allowed us to use the social media pages as a brand trust and a reinforcement tool for the prospective distributors who are looking into partnering with our company, with this company. Why this was important? When you share a video for a corporate objective in your corporate feed, this allows your brand to widen its reach, and we were visible beyond our user base that they might not have been in our initial target audience. Therefore, we expanded our brand awareness and engagement beyond our page. So that's the reason why this campaign was successful. And we, in conclusion, added more. We acquired distributors for the region. So as a roundup, Latin America is a vibrant, responsive environment to use online and to engage with your buyers. To help build the trust you need to fulfill that buyer's journey. I'm going to turn back to Susanna, but I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Camille, thank you very much. And let's just do our last poll. There's been quite a few questions coming in, but we've taken up some time. There's a lot, as I said, there's a lot packed into this webinar in terms of information. A lot of questions have been coming in, both about the website and about the online marketing. But that last poll, just so you know, oh, very similar to the other one. So the same number of people want to be contacted and are interested in learning more about that. That's interesting. So it's good to know that you're interested both in the website and on the online marketing site, at least most of you. And again, thank you for that huge participation. You guys are awesome. I'm clicking those buttons. Right, let me close the poll and just sort of wrap up, give you some takeaways, as we've called it, sort of, you know, takeaways and things, and some next steps, some question time as well. So I guess a couple of takeaways first, and it's something we haven't really mentioned in the beginning of it, but I think for us as an online company, we watch these numbers a lot, and it's worth, you know, numbers are what they are. They can be a bit boring, but it's worth knowing this. It's worth considering this. There, out of, what is it, 8 billion people on the planet today, 5 billion out of 8 billion are online. And that 5 billion on average spend 7 hours a day online. Now, if you're a small mid-cap company, this is good news for you. This means that you know how to reach your clients. You reach your prospects, reach your employees, your distributors, everybody. You can reach them. You know where they are. They're all online. You know how to reach them. Online marketing and social media marketing. So this is a powerful thing. And we've seen that for Latin America. It is very much the case. You know, 70 to 80% of the populations of each Latin American country are online. And they're using social media more than anybody, or almost anybody else in the world. As Camille was saying, you know, 4 out of the top 8 social media users in the world are in Latin America. And that number about sort of, you know, the Mexico, over 3.5 hours spent on social media alone, and 8 hours on average online. So these are very receptive audiences to online business development tools. And I guess the second takeaway we had is what Nora was saying there. Your Latin America website is going to be your best sales rep. It's on 24/7. It doesn't take Christmas holidays. It reaches out and engages with your local buyer persona in a localized way, in a way that they want to be found at the time they want to be found, in the way they want to be found and engaged with. So it's not you cold calling. That's long past. So a localized website is absolutely your best sales rep. It's the best way to go forward to reach your prospective clients and help your distributors in your market. And then, as Camille was saying, some of those top recommendations, you know, about online marketing for Latin America, very, very strong market for online marketing. Defining your buyer persona, choosing the right platform. Is it going to be Facebook, LinkedIn? Where is it? Reporting and data analytics, so key to a successful campaign for that. Our website, which is ibt.onl, the resource pages has a ton of resources which are free, downloadable, more about Latin America, but other markets, more about marketing, more about websites, more about SEO, everything possible you can think of. It's all free and downloadable. We would welcome you to browse around and see what you can find of interest there. On the resources pages. And just to remind you that we do have these online global programs that we run across the US, many US states, and I think more than 22 of them now, and in various places elsewhere in the world, including Canada. So these are very often grant funded as well. So there might be some interest there if you qualify for that in the various states and provinces. With that, I'm going to turn. We're just hitting the hour, so we're not really going to have enough time for questions. I just do one each for Nora and for Camille. And then the other ones that have come in, I apologize. We will answer you by email separately for all the questions you put in. Nora, domain names, are they restricted in Latin America? Top level domain names, you mentioned .mx, are these things restricted?
Oh, well, for Latin America specifically, for Brazil, it has restrictions. So in order to get, for you to be able to purchase your domain name with the Brazil country extension .br, you will have to have specific requirements that are very hard to really fulfill and comply with if you are not you don't have business physically there. For the rest of Latin America, it's good to go.
Good, glad to hear that. And just one that's coming for Camille. Camille, what is the best platform for brand awareness in Latin America? So if you want to grow your brand awareness in Latin America, which would you go for?
For brand awareness, Facebook definitely is the best platform overall.
Okay. And that very wide exposure it has in Latin America as well. Okay.
Yes.
Good. We are just 2 minutes past the hour, so we nearly made it in our 60 minutes. I wanted to thank my colleagues so much for your time today and for your experience in sharing all those insights. A ton of knowledge. Many thanks to Camille and to Nora on websites and online marketing. Most of all, I want to thank you all for attending and joining us today. Love having you here. Thank you all for your questions and participation. We will circle back to you for your questions and see you on the next time, and in person or online, wherever you are. Thank you very much. Stay safe and have fun online. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.